In 2020, a school bus carrying 14 students vanished during a routine field trip to Pine Valley Nature Reserve. No crash, no bodies, no clues. But 5 years later, the bus's GPS is still transmitting signals from impossible locations. What started as a missing persons case became something that challenges everything we know about reality itself. Before you watch this video, don't forget to subscribe to Beneath Stories, because some journeys never end, they just change destinations. March 12, 2020. Riverside Elementary School in Pine Valley, Oregon was preparing for their annual field trip to Pine Valley Nature Reserve. Mrs. Sarah Mitchell's 5th grade class was excited. 14 students would spend the day hiking trails and learning about local wildlife. Bus driver Tom Rodriguez had been driving school routes for 15 years. The yellow school bus, vehicle number 247, was equipped with the latest GPS tracking system, a safety measure implemented district-wide the previous year. The students boarded at 8:30 a.m., twins Jake and Emma Peterson, best friends Maria Santos and Ashley Chen, class clown Tyler Brooks, quiet bookworm Olivia Martinez, and 8 others. Mrs. Mitchell conducted her head count twice, checking names against her roster. The bus departed at 8:45 a.m., 15 minutes behind schedule. Mrs. Mitchell sat behind Tom Rodriguez, occasionally reminding students to stay seated. The GPS tracking system showed the bus following its planned route along Highway 26 toward the nature reserve. At 9:15 a.m., the bus passed through Cedar Mills, where gas station owner Martha Williams waved to Tom Rodriguez. She'd seen him drive this route dozens of times. At 9:30 a.m., the bus was scheduled to arrive at Pine Valley Nature Reserve. But the bus never arrived. By 9:45 a.m., park officials began calling Riverside Elementary about the delayed arrival. Principal Karen Foster assumed traffic delays or mechanical issues. But when 10 a.m. passed with no contact, she tried reaching Tom Rodriguez and Mrs. Mitchell directly. Both the bus radio and cell phone went to voicemail. At 10:15 a.m., Foster accessed the GPS tracking system. What appeared on her screen made no sense. Bus 247 was stationary in Whitman National Forest, 15 miles off-route in an area where no roads existed. Oregon State Police were called immediately. By 11 a.m., helicopters scanned the forested area where GPS indicated the bus should be. They found nothing. The coordinates led to dense old-growth forest too rough for any vehicle. No access roads, no tire tracks, no signs of human activity. But the GPS signal was undeniably coming from that exact location. Detective Lisa Park took charge. With 20 years in search and rescue, she'd never encountered anything like this. The GPS technology is reliable, she told worried parents. But what it's telling us is impossible. The search expanded rapidly. Ground teams, helicopters with thermal imaging, and volunteers searched a 50-mile radius. Media attention exploded. Parents held vigil outside the school. Despite massive efforts, no trace of Bus 247 was found. 3 days later, the GPS data became more puzzling. Bus 247 was moving. According to tracking, the bus traveled at 35 miles per hour through dense forest where no roads existed. The GPS trace showed deliberate turns and consistent patterns, but the path bore no relationship to known roads. Dr. Michael Chen, a GPS expert, analyzed the data. The signal is consistent with our equipment. The GPS unit functions normally and transmits accurate coordinates. But the coordinates describe a vehicle traveling through impossible terrain. The tracking showed the bus moving in a circular pattern with a 200-mile diameter, as if following a predetermined route. Speed remained consistent, direction changes appeared deliberate, signal strength never varied. It's as if the bus travels on roads that exist in the GPS system but not in physical reality, Dr. Chen explained. Parents demanded explanations no one could provide. The FBI's specialized unit took over. Additional technology confirmed the same impossible conclusion. Bus 247 was traveling continuously through areas where travel was physically impossible. As media coverage intensified, witnesses reported seeing a yellow school bus in impossible locations. Retired teacher Margaret Foster claimed she saw bus 247 downtown at 11:30 a.m., 2 hours after it went missing while GPS showed it stationary in forest. "I recognized Tom Rodriguez driving," she insisted. "The bus looked normal, except the windows seemed darker, like I couldn't see the children inside." Hikers reported seeing a school bus on narrow mountain trails barely wide enough for walking. The bus moved normally despite impossible terrain, leaving witnesses disoriented and confused. Most disturbing were phone calls from missing children. Brief, often cut-off calls, but voices unmistakably belonging to bus 247 students. "Mom, we're okay," Jake Peterson told his mother. "We're still on the field trip, but it's different. The roads here look normal but go to places not on maps." Phone records showed no evidence of these calls. Students' phones were home, they hadn't brought devices per school policy. Yet multiple parents reported these impossible communications. Detective Park interviewed each witness. While details varied, a pattern emerged: the bus appeared in impossible locations, seemed normal but somehow wrong, and children appeared safe but unable to return. 6 months later, FBI specialist Dr. Elizabeth Hayes joined the investigation. She specialized in unusual phenomena and unexplained missing persons cases, willing to consider possibilities other investigators dismissed. Her analysis revealed remarkable consistency. The bus followed the same general route daily, with minor variations but never straying far from a specific area. Daily travel averaged 300 miles, speed remained constant except for scheduled stops, and the route returned to the same vicinity each evening. "It's as if the bus follows a school route, but one that exists in different geographical reality," Dr. Hayes observed. She investigated witness reports using advanced interview techniques. Her conclusion was unsettling: witnesses reported genuine experiences, not hallucinations. Technology experts analyzed GPS data for anomalies. They discovered the GPS unit functioned perfectly, transmitting accurate location data for wherever the bus actually was. The problem was that location didn't correspond to anywhere in known reality. Dr. Hayes brought in specialists to examine the case from multiple perspectives. Dr. Robert Kim, a theoretical physicist, proposed the most controversial theory. "The tracking data is consistent with the bus traveling through parallel space," he explained. "GPS coordinates are accurate, but describe locations in a dimensional framework offset from our reality." The theory suggested bus 247 had slipped into a version of Pine Valley existing alongside but separate from normal world. In this parallel space, roads might exist where forests stood in regular reality. Think of a double-exposed photograph, two images occupying the same space but not aligned. The bus travels roads existing in one reality while invisible to observers in another. The theory was speculative but offered the only explanation accounting for all phenomena: GPS data, witness sightings, phone calls, and complete absence of physical evidence. If correct, Dr. Hayes said, the children aren't lost in our world, they're lost between worlds. 2 years after disappearance, GPS signals continued with mechanical regularity. The bus maintained its daily routine, traveling the same impossible route at consistent speed, stopping at coordinates as if picking up and dropping off students. Signal persistence offered hope and frustration. Hope because it suggested the bus still existed somewhere. Frustration because no one could reach them. Tom Rodriguez's wife Carmen monitored GPS religiously. "I can see where he is every minute. He's doing his job, driving his route, keeping children safe. But I can't reach him." Parents organized support groups and fundraising. They hired investigators, consulted psychics, pursued every lead. Some relocated near GPS-indicated areas, hoping proximity might allow contact. Others left Pine Valley, unable to cope with constant reminders. The community struggled with ongoing tragedy rather than concluded one. Memorial services felt premature when GPS suggested children were alive. Moving forward seemed like abandonment. 4 years later, breakthrough came from graduate student Jenny Martinez at University of Oregon. Studying Bus 247 GPS data for her thesis on spatial anomalies, she noticed something previous investigators missed. The bus's route, mapped over time, corresponded to geographical features that existed in Pine Valley decades earlier. GPS coordinates match perfectly with roads planned but never built in the 1960s, Martinez discovered. The State Highway Department proposed rural roads through this area, but the project was cancelled due to environmental concerns. The bus appeared to travel on roads existing only in archived planning documents. The route followed exact specifications of highways designed but never constructed, connecting destinations proposed but never developed. It's as if Bus 247 slipped into a Pine Valley where those roads were actually built, Martinez explained. A reality where the 1960s development plan was implemented instead of cancelled. This led to new search strategy. Instead of looking in current reality, investigators mapped the route against historical plans. GPS data suddenly made sense when overlaid with maps of roads that could have existed but didn't. Martinez's discoveries led Dr. Hayes to develop a new approach. If the bus traveled in alternate Pine Valley, perhaps communication could be established using infrastructure existing in that reality. The team identified intersection points where planned but never built roads would meet current highways. These represented places where realities might be closest, where barriers between worlds might be thinnest. Dr. Hayes set up communication equipment at calculated intersection points, radio transmitters, GPS beacons, devices that might reach across dimensional boundaries. For months, attempts yielded nothing. But on the 5-year anniversary, something extraordinary happened. At 3:47 p.m. on March 12, 2025, radio equipment received a brief transmission. This is Bus 247. Can anyone hear us? We're okay, but we can't find the way back to school. The voice was Tom Rodriguez. Transmission lasted 15 seconds before cutting off, the first direct contact in 5 years. Dr. Hayes mobilized teams to all intersection points. Response came 2 days later, "We can hear you sometimes. The children are safe. We've been trying to get back, but the roads here don't go where they're supposed to go." Brief radio contacts energized rescue efforts and provided crucial information. Through intermittent communications, investigators learned Tom Rodriguez and Mrs. Mitchell had been driving the same route for 5 years, unable to find their way back. "We arrive at places that look like where we're supposed to be," Mrs. Mitchell reported. "But it's not quite right. The nature reserve has different trails, towns have different buildings. We keep following roads, hoping to find our way back." Children had adapted with typical resilience, turning their indefinite field trip into extended learning. They were healthy and safe but increasingly disconnected from their original world. Dr. Hayes developed a plan to guide the bus back using radio communications. If the bus traveled alternate Pine Valley roads, specific directions might help navigate to intersection points where realities converged. The first attempt required precise timing. Using GPS data, Dr. Hayes predicted when Bus 247 would near an intersection point. Radio teams would broadcast instructions to help navigate toward the dimensional boundary. Contact was established. "We can see something," Tom Rodriguez reported. "There's a shimmer ahead, like heat waves. Should we drive toward it?" "Yes, drive directly toward the shimmer. That's your way home." GPS showed Bus 247 moving toward the intersection point. Signal grew stronger, suggesting proximity to normal reality. Then abruptly, signal moved away and resumed usual pattern. It didn't work. "We tried to drive toward it, but the road turned away. We couldn't reach it." After multiple failed attempts, Dr. Hayes suspected the bus might be permanently trapped. Radio contacts became less frequent, more difficult to maintain, as if realities were drifting apart. Final meaningful communication came June 8, 2025, the last clear contact. Dr. Hayes, this is Sarah Mitchell. I need you to tell the families something important. I'm listening. The children want families to know they're okay. They're learning things here they never could have learned in regular school. They're seeing parts of the world that don't exist in your reality, having adventures that will last their whole lives. But they want to come home. We all do. We just can't find the way. We're not giving up. We'll keep trying to bring you back. I know. But prepare families for the possibility we might not make it back. If we don't, they should know we're safe, together, living a different kind of life but still a good one. Tell them we love them. Tell them we never stop trying to come home. Transmission faded. That was the last direct communication with Bus 247. Radio attempts continued for months, but no response was ever received. Today, 5 years after Bus 247 disappeared, GPS tracking signals continue. The bus maintains its daily route through impossible roads of alternate Pine Valley, carrying missing children and adults on a journey that may never end. Families have learned to live with unique grief, mourning loved ones not dead but irretrievably distant. They track the bus's progress daily, finding comfort knowing their children are still out there, safe, together. Jenny Martinez completed her thesis and now works full-time on dimensional research, hoping to develop technology that might retrieve the missing bus. Dr. Hayes continues documenting every aspect for future researchers. Pine Valley created a memorial park at an intersection point where radio contact was established. Families gather there on significant dates, hoping for another transmission. GPS tracking has become strange comfort. Parents know exactly where children are, even though they cannot reach them. They follow the bus's daily routine, imagining children inside, growing up in a world parallel to but separate from their own. Carmen Rodriguez monitors GPS signals daily. He's still doing his job, keeping those children safe, driving his route. He just can't bring them home. The Bus 247 case has changed how investigators approach missing persons with unexplained phenomena. It opened new scientific research areas and forced reconsideration of what might be possible in a universe with more dimensions than most imagine. For families, scientific implications matter less than the fact their loved ones are still out there, still traveling, still hoping to find their way home. The yellow school bus continues its endless journey through roads existing in maps never drawn, carrying children growing up in a world that might have been. They are lost but not gone, missing but not forgotten, traveling toward destinations as simple as where they started and as impossible to reach as another dimension. Thank you for watching this investigation into Bus 247 and the children who vanished into parallel roads. Subscribe to Beneath Stories for more cases that challenge our understanding of reality. Because some journeys never end, they just change the reality in which they're taking place.